Stew, and her name is Minerva. Ouch. She's the flower of the flower. Ouch.
And the beat goes on. Yeah, we just had a lengthy stream over there on Mr. EVS's channel. Look at that. Mike Miller, first one in the house. How about that, Mike? I know you're a West Coast guy, so you're like, yeah, I can stay up a little bit later. It's not that late. I clean my camera off here. I put my hand up against it, and yeah, it really didn't help my looks much, did it? No, we've had a tremendous launch tonight. We started on this channel, went over to EVS's for, I don't know, the last, 6 hours, 5 hours. And now I'm back here because I said I'm sticking it out till midnight. So here I am. What am I going to do? Well, I could talk, but who really wants to listen to me talk? Well, I'm going to talk anyway, whether you want to hear it or not. But I'm actually going to draw, because time is money. So why waste my time just talking when I could be making money? Well, I don't know if I'm making money, but I would be drawing and being productive. So, yeah, well, let's see. Past Master Dan is still here. Of course, Mike Miller, of course, is here. Sequential Treasure still hanging around. See, look at James wants on the show, but I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to. Maybe I will. No, because I'm going to draw, so I'm not going to be chatting that much. You're a beast in a good way. Thank you. Still follically challenged, though. You know, one thing that'll knock the hair off you right there. That will do it every time. I'm sure of it. Mike is always there lurking. All right, so let me grab a piece of paper. I blue lined this. Some of you may remember. I did the first 3 pages to Wraith of God, Blood Hunters, the new one. And after thinking about it, I was like, you know what? This story really needs to open up on the Wraith, not on the vampire. Even though I do believe sincerely in my heart that the vampire needed to be properly set up, which is what that 3-page sequence does that you see on the campaign. But I don't think it should come before the Wraith. So I have reworked the script so that I can open with a Wraith and Esther scene, go to the vampire, then come back to Wraith and Esther again. So we shall see. Let's take a look, first of all, at the campaign. Why am I doing this? Why am I up this late? I got a convention to go to tomorrow morning, but because I'm launching Wraith of God Blood Hunters. That's kind of the whole purpose of all this. Today's the big launch. It launched at 3 o'clock, 2:45 Pacific time. And so let's take a look and see where we're at, and then I'll start drawing and see what happens. So let's refresh this baby. We're at 56,308, which is remarkable. So fortunate. Blessed, could I say, possibly. So now 56,634. How about that? I'm wondering if I can squeeze this out to 60 tonight before midnight. That's 2 hours from now. Can we do it? I'm going to give it a shot. That's for sure. Nomadaman. Dang it. Nomadaman. There it is. Nomadaman. Congrats on a great launch, Aaron. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, man. No one really knows. I'm assuming that possibly he went back to bed. So we shall see. We shall see how long it takes for him to resurface. Let's see. James, you're begging me to come on. I'm going to draw. We have our own show, man. We don't want to waste the material on a live stream. We just save it for the... let's see. Stippling Vaughn, awesome start. Hey, thank you so much for that. You never know what is going to happen when you do one of these things, right? You always hope for the best, and you think, well, the last campaign did this or that or the other thing, but that has no bearing. You just never know. So I don't take anything for granted. I'm quite thankful and appreciative for the support, obviously, that this project's getting and that you guys are giving me personally. And okay. So I sort of blue lined this. This is kind of a surreal kind of scene I've got going here. So I always tend to, well, I was going to say not always, but it actually is always. I always blue line kind of rough underneath and then kind of clean it up in the pencil stages. The great thing about doing this stuff myself is, I mean, everything from penciling to inking is I don't have to be as tight. And especially on a splash page, because there's a pretty good chance that I'm going to get this blocked in the way that I want it to look, and then I'm going to go ahead and change it or light table it. So I can get as rough on here as I want, knowing full well that I'm probably still going to, by the time I get to the end of it, I'm probably still going to be light tabling it and making some changes to it. So if it gets, if I press too hard and ruin the paper or whatever, I don't think it's going to make that much difference. So it actually allows me to be a little bit freer and kind of treat this like, I don't know, more of a sketch than a finished piece. There's always just an undue amount of pressure. Well, no, personally, I feel that way when I'm doing like splash pages or double page spreads. A lot of people say, oh, the storytelling's, doing the panel pages is more difficult because you got to break everything down. You got to make sure it's clear. I totally have the opposite feeling about that. I always feel way more pressure doing a splash page or especially a double page spread, because everybody's going to stop and look at that. Right? The panel stuff, they sort of read, and if it flows nicely, no one's going to give you too much of a critical eye. But on a splash page and double page spread, people are watching you, and they're watching closely. So it's very unusual for me to lay down a splash page or a double page spread without redoing it at least once, and then end up light tabling it. And plus, you can get, if you're not being too tight when you're doing this, you can get more energy into this, kind of like you're almost treating it like a sketch or something, right? That you might see, you might do at a con or something, right? So it's got a little bit more life into it. And I can be looser. I can, I could sit here and go, I don't like the way the arm's going, and just draw it up here, right? And say, oh, maybe I like the way that looks better. I never even have to worry about that because I'm going to end up light tabling the whole thing anyway. But I actually do like that arm where it's at, so I'm going to leave it there. There you go, Junkyard. Done. Congrats. Aaron just got in on the secret perk. I can't wait. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I know that some of you guys, the links were not hot in your emails, and other ones they were. I don't really understand what happened there. But if you do have a secret perk link because you were an early sign-up person and you want to make sure you get that Merv the Astro Chip card, you can copy and paste those links into your into the your browser and get to those secret perks. Make sure you get that that Merv the Astro Chip card. I'm trying to figure out a way to make it a little bit easier to make sure that those early sign up bonus cards or card get to everybody that it's supposed to get to, because we had to cross-reference CVS download files of the customers on the last one, and the problem was that there was the only thing that required for you to sign up early was your email address. Some people use different emails to order than they did to sign up on the early sign up. So I couldn't cross-reference the emails, and I found several people that I thought, I know this guy signed up early. How come it's not showing up? Why can't I find him on the order list? How would they? Because I knew they ordered and I knew they signed up early, and yet I couldn't find their order because they used a different email. And then just by cross-referencing by hand, you're going to take a chance and miss somebody. And I'm sure, I haven't heard from anybody that didn't get their stuff. But, well, actually, that's not true. I met a couple people that was because I forgot to put them in when I was packing the envelope, not because I overlooked them getting the card they're supposed to get. But so I'm trying to figure out a way to make it easier to make sure that you guys get what you're supposed to get. And I thought, well, what do we do the secret perk thing? So we'll see how it works out this time. And if it ends up being easier, or I don't know if easier is the right word, but less likely to have issues with, because it does sort of put the responsibility on you to use a secret perk to order, because then it'll just show up, that monkey card will just show up on your order, and it'll say, oh, they get a monkey card because it says so right here. So it makes it a little bit easier, but we'll see. Seems like every time you do a campaign or something like this, you learn something, and then you realize maybe you should have done something differently. And so it's a process. You figure stuff out, get more efficient each time you do it. So we shall see on this one. It almost looks, you can really start to see like this major Gil Kane influence on my stuff. Jeff Stout said it was originally a ghostwriter. That is correct. Wraith of God was originally a ghostwriter pitch. And part of the story was actually what I had was the ghostwriter was going to there was going to be a new ghostwriter replacing the old one, and his story was very similar to the Wraiths. I made some changes, of course. And then as the story went along, of course, Esther was never a part of the equation in the original pitch that I had for the ghostwriter book. And so once, Marvel had no interest in it, then I really liked what I had started. I liked a lot of the elements of the story. So I just, I kept fleshing it out over time. And Esther became a part of it. And then and eventually I developed into what ended up being in a graphic novel. But it was actually over time. So and that was a nice thing about it. I mean, I had plenty of time to work on the script, so I got it, made it what I wanted it to be. And you don't always get that. Ethan was so tired he had to go join the Jack show. Oh, that's funny. Dale Keon slept here. Here's you can see my chicken enchilada dish over here that we ate on the stream. No, that's fine. I mean, at some point with that show, I think probably Ethan probably had a little bit of guilt that we were encroaching on the Jack show's domain. So I don't care. I got you get on for 5 hours on a really big platform, so I'm very appreciative of this time. Be careful. I don't want this vampire to look like Plastic Man with his neck. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do here. I do want some stylization, but I don't want to get too weird, or at least something that may look rubbery. And so one of the things, if you just even look at this right now, I got too much dead space at the bottom and not enough room at the top. So, there's a 95% chance this is going to end up getting light tabled. I'm just going to scoot this image down on the board. The as stressful as it is getting ready to launch a project, the relief once it's actually launched, we got a long way to go. Obviously, I mean, it's your first 30 days, and then you got another, potentially. I'm probably going to extend for another 2 weeks and then let it go in demand. But I can actually start working on the book now. I'll do. I have to keep doing live streams and that type of thing to promote it. But I was, I had so much work that was part of the campaign page that I needed to get done. And then just setting up the perks and everything, which is just a lot of work, more than you might think. And so, I had these moments where I was just totally really stressed out, going, I need to get this stuff done in time. I really need to launch this date, because I'm already way past where I wanted to be on my launch date. And so I just didn't really want to string it out any longer. So to have all that, the cover work and all that kind of stuff, the prints and all that kind of stuff done, is just an incredible relief. But you can see how I can get bold like this and just kind of mess around with the shapes and kind of get them, ease them into where I want them. And then, I don't have to worry about it being too tight because I'm just going to light table this. I may actually have this kind of vampire being part of the Wraith's cloak here. There needs to be an element, a real strong element of the surreal in this scene because it's kind of a dream sequence kind of thing. I don't know if I'd exactly call it that, but I'm not going to. This will be the last page that I show of any consequence before the book comes out. So I want to ruin the story for you guys. See, it's me thinking about you. What can I do for you? That's the hard thing is, I want to keep you guys updated like I did with, Wraith of God, first one, but I don't want to show you too much because I don't want to ruin the story for you. Now, this story doesn't have the mystery elements in it that Wraith of God did, which was really sort of you're not really sure who the werewolves are. You're not really sure, what is going on with Esther. And we had the origin stories for both the characters and things like that. So there was a lot of stuff that I just did not want to reveal because I didn't want to spoil the reading experience. This is going to be a little bit more linear in its storytelling approach. But I still don't want you guys, obviously, to know what's going to happen because where's the fun in that? And I might show another page or two of, Garbage Man. Probably show a couple pages from the nightclub story. And then maybe a few bits and pieces of frames here and there. And of course, if we hit the $100,000 mark, where I include the Esther, the Kit Carter stuff, then I'll show you some of that as well. And then, of course, we have some trading cards and stuff that are part of the stretch goals, and those will get drawn and shown. So there's still going to be plenty of artwork along the way that I'll be able to show you guys that is not necessarily going to ruin anything, anybody's reading experience. And that's kind of the interesting thing about this whole process. We were talking about having more time, right, to work on the books as independent crowdfunded creators, so we can create, we can do our best work, kind of thing, right? Well, one of the things that we didn't really mention in this last live stream was that, or at least for me personally, the extra time I have to work on the script to make the story better is something I value more than the extra time to do the drawings. Because I tend to work at one speed when I draw, and that's just kind of how I operate. And so, yeah, you might spend a little bit more time on something, maybe add a few more details to the background or whatever that you might not normally do in a monthly grind. But I'm really, really thankful for the extra time that I get to toss in on the script, because really that's the bottom line. If the story's no good, it's great to say, oh yeah, the artwork looks fantastic and all this or whatever, but if the story's not good, it's really going to be hard to keep people coming back for more. So the script has to be good. And I feel like in this format that I have the time to work on the script more than I did when I wrote, for DC, or in my creator-owned stuff like Power Cubed or whatever. Was, once I started working on them, they got put into a deadline situation, right? And and so you have to factor all that in and get stuff done. Now there's still a deadline here. It's a self-imposed one, but there's still a deadline here. But I just feel like, if I've got 10 pages that are really working well in the script, I can just draw them, right? And then be fiddling around with the rest of the script while I'm drawing the 10 pages I know are, locked in concrete. Actually, you know what? Why is this a bald guy? See, this should be another chick, shouldn't it? It should. So there's a perfect example of me not having to worry about this being too tight, or not having to erase all that well when I know that I'm going to be light tabling this to another board. See, again, they're supposed to be more surreal looking characters, and I'm drawing them too straight up. He should. I assume you're referring to me. I will. I'm going to offer, where I didn't sell any of the originals, in the first campaign, I'm going to be offering up some of the originals. The problem with that is, it's like, I don't want to be showing you guys artwork that's part of the story and make it part of the campaign. So probably, more than likely, what's going to happen is I'll just offer it up for sale after the campaign or something. But I will be selling pages from this story, whereas I didn't from the very first one. So there's a lot of people have been asking me about the original artwork and stuff like that. So, of course, I don't know how many people in the audience know who Ingrid Pitt is, but I know James and I both know. Hammer film, Femme Fatale Vampire, Big Busted Gal. Wasn't afraid to show a little bit of skin in those movies. JV says, I can't watch a stream unless the host is going to pass out for 4 hours. Vic King and Dale have me accustomed to it. Hey, the amount of subs he got on his channel for sleeping for 4 hours was remarkable. So, Slavic One says, I think my friends would like this series, but they will not back things anymore because they have been burned so many times. Well, Slavic One, what you can tell them is I have copies of it already published. So if they want a copy, you can just email me at aaron@aaronlopresti.com and I can sell them one directly. So, they don't have to back the campaign. They can wait. They're paying a little bit more now, but you're anyway, you missed the campaign, so the books are a little bit more expensive than they would be on the campaign anyway. But they can still get one, but they better hurry because they're not going to last long. I don't have that many left, but that is one way they can get the book. If they don't want to back the campaign, you can buy the book directly from me because it is published and sitting here right now. So, so there you have. No, I'm not going to hire an editor. What I am going to do, Jeff, is I'm going to, I hired one proofreader last time. This time I'm going to hire two. So I'm going to have the first proofreader proof it. Then I'll have the letterer make the changes. Then I'll send that to a second proofreader to have them proof it to see if we can eliminate some of the tiny mistakes that there wasn't a ton, but there was a few that crept through in the graphic novel. And I'm going to give you another shout out. Abra's 2 cents. I don't have the link, but Abra, if you want to post your link to your YouTube channel, please do so in the chat. She does reviews, and I was so freaking impressed with it. I mean, she liked the book, so thank God for that, right? But just your voice is so professional sounding. The way you read and delivered your I assume they were a scripted response or critique because you had, it was prepared video. It wasn't like a live stream thing or you just set up the camera and just gave your review. It was really, really well done, very professional looking. And I think you guys should all go and subscribe to her YouTube channel because apparently she just does reviews of comics. And I was just so impressed with how well and her insights too. It wasn't just like, yeah, I really liked it. The drawing was good and I thought the story was great. I mean, she really broke it down and said what she liked about it and what worked. And I assume if something didn't work, she would have done the same, that she felt, but so I was just really impressed. So give her a look on YouTube. Darth Josh. I still can't make the email secret links work. Now, Darth, did you try and copy them and then paste them into the browser? Because that should work. Now what I'll do is I know that some people didn't get it. So I send these mass mails out through MailChimp, and it only allows me to send out 2,000 a day. So I have to wait 24 hours before I send out another batch. But I will do that again. I'll send out the email again tomorrow. But I'm not really sure. I can't really understand why some people's links are hot in their emails and some are not. I have no explanation for that. But that's the alternative is you can copy and paste into your browser. It's not that much of a hassle. It's not quite as easy as clicking on it, but it's not, it's not something that's going to take a half hour or something. Bluest Right says, I don't know if you saw my Facebook message. There was some sort of glitch in the email where the links to the special perks all sent me to just book A, but it was on my end. Had to reboot my email. Okay. So then I assume that you rebooted your email and it worked the next time? Okay, a Saturn Vue. I assume that's a car, right? Yeah, I can't really see how that would fit into the Western. It might, I might possibly be able to do something like that in the nightclub story, because that takes place in modern times. Aaron, do you feel more pressure for the second book because the first one got such positive reviews? Yes. Yes, I do. But ultimately, you have to trust yourself to a certain extent, right? And that doesn't mean that I think everything I write is gold or whatever, but you have to trust your instincts, right? And I think I have plenty of training in what I call entertainment writing, screenwriting, television, things like that, script writing. But it's also it's like when you draw, right? And you follow the path that you don't sit down and draw an arrow to make sure you're leading the eye. You do it naturally because you recognize when something's working and when it isn't, or when it's comfortable and when it's not. And then after the fact, you can sit there and draw one of those little pathways and say, oh my gosh, I led the eye from the top left all the way to the bottom right. And I do the same thing with writing, in that you can just kind of feel when you're reading something, you go, I need a scene here because this isn't really well explained, or this scene is too long and it's pointless, so I need to cut it. So I trust my instincts on that. That doesn't mean everything I do is going to be gold, but you have to be able to recognize something that people are going to respond to as entertainment, or are they going to be bored by it? Or is this just me being self-indulgent because I want to say a bunch of witty things? You have to be able to show some humility and edit yourself if you're going to edit yourself. I mean, that's an obvious statement, and I think I can do that, but I do feel pressure, because now you're like, but I can tell you this, if it got mixed reviews, I'd feel even more pressure, because you think, boy, I really messed up here, here, and here, and I didn't think I did when I wrote it. And so then you really can start second guessing yourself on every move you make. Now I have a little bit more confidence, I guess. I mean, I've done plenty of writing before, but not with the spotlight so directly on me, and that face isn't going to work. So yeah, there's this weird thing of the pressure of living up to it, right? It's like, Spielberg makes Jaws, and that's the next thing he makes is 1941. You're like, oops. But then he came back with Raiders. So, you know what I mean? So you don't want to have that 1941 in there. But I think in comic books, if you keep it moving and you keep it interesting, and you're able to, in your first outing, maybe to establish characters that people like, then they're a little bit more forgiving on that second issue, because you've already built in some goodwill. And so I don't know. I feel really, really good about this story that I'm working on right now. And the other thing to think about is there's a certain amount of, when you do one that everybody seems to like and seems to work well, everyone is expecting the next one to be good, right? So maybe you've got a little goodwill built in from their standpoint, that because they expect it to be good, that they're going to think it's good. I mean, you know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be as brilliant maybe as the first one. I'm not saying the first one I did was brilliant. I'm just saying that, as an example, that maybe it's not quite as in depth, right? I mean, let's face it, Wraith of God wasn't a 79-page story. This is going to be a 40-page, give or take, story. So it's not going to be as long. It's not going to have, the origin stories and the depth of first finding out about the characters in it like you did in the first book. But I do think that it's going to have depth in terms of the significance, the morality tale of the story. And it's going to be more geared towards the action of them fighting and defeating the vampires, because there's not going to be as much backstory to be put into it. So I think it's set up, the type of story that I'm telling is set up to get a good response. So we'll see. What if Mike seen how much Wraith of God raises and offers to buy it from you for $100K? Yeah, I don't know if I'd sell it for $100K. I really don't. There you go. Wraith of God backer 148 for the books, 152, 154 for the shirts. Thank you, Lewis. I really appreciate it, man. Jeff Stout says, for me, backing Aaron is a super safe bet. I followed his career and collected most of his work. He's proven commodity. Newer stuff from unknown creators really makes me hesitant to back. And I think that's a reasonable way to look at it, because, people have screwed over other people before, or people think they want to do this and they don't really have an idea of how much work it entails, and it can be overwhelming, right? I mean, I've been doing this for 30 plus years, or around 30 years. And so, I know how much work is involved in just the physically producing a book. And I've done some self-publishing, sketchbooks and things like that, not a comic book before. But I know there's some pitfalls in that as well. And it can get really overwhelming. So you have to have a really good work ethic. And young people, a lot of times, that are newer, haven't necessarily developed that. So I'm not saying they can or won't do it. And I'm certainly not suggesting that, you shouldn't back someone who, is new. But I'm saying I understand the trepidation. I hate that hand. I understand the trepidation from ordering from someone that you don't have a track record on. And that was one of the reasons why it was incumbent upon me, and I put the pressure on myself to make sure this book got done as close to on time as it could be. It would have been pretty much right on time if I hadn't had the printing problems. And then making sure this thing got shipped out to everybody before I even thought about launching another campaign. Because I just don't think that's fair to you guys. And the other thing is that it depends on what you're attempting to do, right? Are you attempting to hang on a second. If you're trying to build a universe, if you're trying to create more projects, then you go into this knowing that you've got a lot of work ahead of you. But that's something you want to do, right? So you can't do that if you don't put the product out there. You can't build something if you're not producing anything. I mean, we can all dream about what we'd like to do, and wouldn't it be fun if I did this? But there is a lot of work involved with doing that, and if you're not ready for it, it can be overwhelming. So, but I do appreciate that you guys put your trust in me, and I'm incredibly happy that, for the most part, from what I've seen, everybody liked the book, so that you felt like you got your money's worth. And let's face it, we all know that none of us doing this independent comicscape movement experiment is ever going to work in the mainstream comics again. And so this has got to work, or I'm going to be a Walmart greeter. So there's a significant amount of pressure, on me to make sure that I'm giving you guys a really top-notch quality. That's a much better hand product that you can get behind and enjoy and have faith in. Just don't screw up. No, he's right. I mean, that's the thing. It's, I think I would be, although I might be kind of grumpy that I was actually reduced to, in my old age having to do that. But then I guess if I was bored, it might be kind of fun to do. I don't know. I know. I might be. I'm at a convention tomorrow. I might be asleep behind my table. Jeff wants. Oh, wait a minute. That's not it. Vic wants. We want Christina Lynn on stream, Aaron. You're wasting an opportunity. Well, maybe I will bring her on sometime and talk to her about what she's doing and give her a few minutes to talk about herself and Lewis says, yes, I got it to work. That's why I was asking in the chat how to make it work, and I had Andy ask you. So it was very frustrating. I ended up getting all 3 covers and a Merv card, Garbage Man and Dale shirt. Great. Thank you so much, Lewis. Appreciate it. Yeah, every time you do something like that, you're like, yeah, what's going to go wrong with this? This is a little too convoluted. All right, let's take 5 here and look at the campaign, since this is technically speaking a launch stream. So we're at 56,634. Let me refresh this and see if we've gotten any action here late at night. 57,320. Holy crap. Yes, we have. Excellent. Thank you guys so much. Yeah. Well, yeah, it depends on where the store's at, right? What? Malin's going to make fun of this cover. Which one? The main one or... Shelly would be a terrible Walmart greeter. She'd body slam the rude customers. She just might. Kelbeer66 says, loving the art right there. Wraith of God has to be one of my all-time favorite CG books art-wise. It just resonates with me. Well, thank you. It was scary, honestly, doing a Western. Because you just, that's the whole, it's been for years the kind of the Hollywood trope, right? Is don't do a Western. They're too expensive and no one likes them, and it's hard to think about a Western that made a lot of money in recent years. And that's weird because they used to be a staple in American cinema and culture. And I don't know, maybe they're too old-fashioned values, you know what I mean? They don't resonate with a younger audience. But I mean, obviously, I didn't do a straight Western like Wagon Train or something like that. I did kind of a superhero horror Western, so I was able to mix some genres that I felt made it a safer bet, but I was still, still apprehensive. You just don't know about these things. And you guys, as the customers, are always the final word. But I do think the one nice thing about this, doing stuff like this, is and having a YouTube audience and doing streams like this, it's a lot like a convention, and where you get, in some ways, to interact with the artist or writer, whatever the case may be, and feel like it's you're more a part of the project than just some rando person buying a book, right? And I think that goes a long way. I remember I was always a Mike Plug fan, especially his Man Thing stuff. But when I met him at a show in Portland, like in the 90s. He was such a nice guy, and I got to know him a little bit, and I became a huge Mike Plug fan after that, right? And so I think the getting to interact and be a part of the process of making the book, instead of you just walking to a comic shop and saying, oh, that's finally out, I'll check it out. You're getting to get updates. You're getting get to watch me draw some of the stuff that's going to go into the book. And so you have a greater connection, and which then makes it of greater interest to you as a reader. And so I think that that kind of thing, that kind of personal touch, it's really necessary when you're doing new comics or new characters in comics, to kind of get a connection with your audience, and you guys getting a connection with the people that are creating the books. Because when you're buying Marvel and DC, you're buying Spider-Man, you're buying your characters that have been established that maybe you grew up on or whatever. And so, yeah, it's fun to meet the creators and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't really affect whether or not you're going to buy the book. But I think it does affect whether or not you're going to back the books in these crowdfunded situations, right? Do I know the creator? Is he a jerk? Is he a decent guy? Is he someone that I can trust to deliver what he says he's going to deliver? All those are important elements that are essential elements to these books being successful. So it's a brave new world, man. It's a new frontier out there. How many other cliches can I use? And you have to be careful too, to a certain extent. I mean, Mike Miller made the comment just a little earlier, just don't screw up, right? And it's like it's so true. You got to be careful what you say, who do you say it to, in what context do you say it. And to me, that's it's knowing your audience to a certain extent, and how you're going to present yourself, and then be consistent with what you've presented, and then I think you'll gain a consistent audience that way, because they have an idea of who you are. And then if you start to go outside that lane a little bit, you might turn somebody off, or you might burn a bridge, if you will. And this is a business venture, and you've got to know your audience, you got to know your customer, as it were, and treat them respectfully. It's hard to do that in today's social media age, where people are coming after you all the time, and calling you names and making up new adjectives to describe you. Okay, so now we can kind of see what's happening here. This is sort of becoming something now. think I got to get one more chick in there, one more female vampire, perhaps. I might have to lower this hand a little bit. It's getting a little too close to his crotch, and I don't want any, what should we say? Don't want to encourage any salty commentary. Mike says, think of it this way. Nobody listens to big band and 50s rock and roll anymore. That was oldies in the 80s. And now the oldies are the 80s. Boy, isn't that the truth? And yeah, someone probably asked about Kit Carter. Yeah, so that's a stretch goal at 100K that I'm going to add 15 pages to this book of Kit Carter. So this book could end up being right around 100 pages for $25. So that actually, when you look at it like that, that's a pretty good deal, even by, newsstand or, mainstream books. So that's what I'm trying to do, is give you guys value. But the problem with it is, or the danger with it is you have to hit certain dollar marks, or you're going to, putting that many pages in a book, you're going to lose money. But I'm confident that we can hit, I would assume that we should at least be able to hit the same number we did last time. And if we do that, then, the money will be there to pay for a 100-page book. Good, Gabe, back to cover C. He loves the retro color. Thank you, sir. And that's coming from a very talented colorist. Thank you very much for that. There's nothing like silence on the radio, right? It's amazing. And this isn't exactly radio, but it is in some ways. And if you're listening to a radio show and they stop talking for even like 10 seconds, you're like, did I lose my signal? So, I'm sorry, I'm doing something on the side here. You have to bear with me just for a second. I'm looking at David Williams gave me a call, and it's probably not still up. Just contemplating giving him a call back. I don't know if I want to put him on the air, though. It's like, hey, David, what are you doing? Somebody sent me a message, said to Infinity and Bed Bath & Beyond, and there's a picture of Buzz Lightyear, and I don't know who sent it to me. It's kind of funny, though. Oh, so Mike Miller is jumping in there. Hey, Mike.
Hi-yo.
Is that the land of the rising sun behind you?
That is. Got to represent.
Oh, that's right. You're Japanese, or at least part Japanese. Is your mom or something Japanese?
I'm half Japanese. Yes, my mother is Japanese. Actually, technically speaking, I don't know what it is, like a quarter or an eighth Ainu, which is the indigenous people of Japan, Japanese. So I'm like real Japanese, as opposed to all those Koreans that came in and killed most of my people.
Were you born in Hawaii?
I was, yes. You can blow your screen back up.
Oh,
people don't want to look at my ugly mug.
It's true. Why would they?
All right,
what's the deal with the? No, I guess maybe I was going to say, why is there so many Japanese people in Hawaii? Because there is a ton, but I guess it's because it's really not that far from Japan, is it?
location. It's in the middle of the Pacific. So yeah, you have a large Japanese contingent there. My dad moved us there because, my mom barely spoke a lick of English. And then, she was comfortable there, but he didn't want us growing up in Hawaii because the public school system there is trash.
Even back then, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you go to San Diego this year?
I went for about 2 hours on
Oh, so you didn't set
Sunday.
up for a thing.
No. I just went so I could say that I had, it was like after church. I had the badges in my pocket. I'm like, might as well. Might as well swing by.
Did you think what day? Was it on Sunday you said you went?
Yeah.
What was the crowd like? Better, worse, same?
I was actually quite busy. I was a little shocked, actually.
Yeah, I was wondering what kind of, especially in California, where they seem to be, at least in areas of California, seem to be still pretty uptight about COVID.
Yeah, they had these. I was like, me and my daughter were like the only two in there that wouldn't wear our masks, and then they kept saying over the loudspeaker, "It's like, remember, you have to have your mask on." Blah blah blah. I'm like, nope.
They're singling you out, Mike Miller and family. Put your mask on.
Yeah. But no, I went in through the back. Like nobody knows that there's a back entrance to Comic-Con, and
You're talking about the back of the convention center up by the docks, right? Or up by that walkway back there.
Yeah, you go up those like 3 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
Right? Like nobody knows about it. And so we went up the back. They didn't, and like if you went through the front, dude, you had to have a COVID test or a vaccine passport, and then get a wristband to prove that you did that, and blah blah on all that stuff. And I just walked in through the back, and nobody said anything. I didn't even have a mask on. I didn't even have my badge on. I had my badge.
Right in, huh?
Yeah, I had my badge in my pocket, and I like hit the little thing on the side of the, to get in. But after that, I put it back in my pocket because I didn't have a lanyard, and I walked past the security guards that were letting people in, and they were sitting there with their mask around their neck, telling people they needed their mask and their badge out. And I just went right past them, looked them right in the face. They didn't say nothing.
Well, I guess you act like you're supposed to be there, right? And they don't even...
Yeah, well, there you
that
go.
guy knows what he's doing. He must be okay. Yeah, my son went because we were going to go, and obviously we couldn't go because Shelley had to have cancer surgery. But my son still went because they were planning on going, and they had all their travel plans set up and airline tickets and all that kind of stuff. And so he went, and he said he was surprised. He said it was pretty busy. It was not quite as tight as it normally is, but it was still quite a few people there. So.
Yeah, I thought on Sunday it was pretty darn packed. And Oli, my friend, said he was like selling out of stuff left and right. It was really sales wise. I think people were so pent up with not going for so long.
Right.
They were like, I gotta go spend my money on nerd crap.
So, that happened to me last year when I went to the Rose City Con because that was the first convention. Really, it was in September. So and San Diego had been canceled last year as well, and we went to Rose City, and I did like better than I've ever done at a Portland show. It was just crazy because I think you're right. I mean, people had
whatever
waiting to go someplace and spend some money, and this was the one.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Yeah, they still had their COVID money sitting in the.
Yeah. I was a little ticked off that especially San Diego. I thought, come on, they're not going to require people to still have, COVID test stuff.
Yeah, they did. It was so stupid.
Yeah, well, Portland, I thought they were going to do that, but they didn't. They don't have a requirement, so.
Oh, really?
I can just go. I mean, they're expecting us to wear masks, and if I have one that's, I won't rock the boat too much, but. I got to have one that's comfortable, man. Wearing a mask for 8 hours or however long you're at the show is really annoying.
It's garbage. Like the first guy I walked up to was Richard Friend, And he just started laughing. He's like, "Of course, Mike doesn't have a mask on." I'm like, "Hell no, dude! They can kick me out. I'm not gonna put a freaking mask on." I mean, it didn't matter to me because I got in for free. So
Right. Well, that's you get the pro pass, right?
yeah, pro badge.
Yeah.
Hopefully next year it'll be past all this bull crap. Because
You
I
would
was
hope.
actually set up, and I didn't want to say this on Facebook or anything because Clydeen. Oh, I hope she's not watching.
Unless you might be.
Well, because I didn't. It was because of the mask bull crap that I backed out of my. I was supposed to be doing a couple different panels because Clydeen asked me to, and then
Yeah.
that mask mandate thing dropped, and I'm like, you know what? I'm taking time out of my schedule to do this, and you're gonna freaking do this to me. So I mean, I just politely said that I was too busy, but really it was because of the mask, and I was too busy. But
And it was too busy, but it gave you a good excuse, right?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
I got stuff I need to be doing, and I'm not going to wear a mask. So
that is correct, sir. So I'm gonna pass. Thank you very much.
Randy Howell sends $2 Canadian my way. Thank you so much, Randy. Aaron, did you just hit 2K subs? Go Wraith. I don't know. Did I?
I don't know. It looks like 1.99 on my end. Let me refresh.
Oh, how about that?
Refresh.
Thank you. I didn't even have to beg people to stop.
Hey, look at that.
What's that?
Congratulations.
Should I bring up my my Wraith of God? Is that what you're talking about, or the 2,000 subs?
2,000 subs.
Oh,
Oh
really?
yeah, I don't even know where you're at on Wraith of God. Yeah. You just I just refreshed your page and it was
finally got to 2,000 subs, and I didn't even have to ask for it this time. But I'm going to take a look at this campaign and see what it's doing real quick.
Where you're at on that.
Let's see here. See if we got any action. Yeah, 57,574. Thank you so much, guys. We're creeping right along. Almost.
Oh, that's trippy. Mine says 57,508. Let me refresh it again. Wow, you just got one just like right as you were refreshing it.
Yeah.
That's rad.
There you go,
Fox
Mike.
Mulder. This is what I'm here for, to read your chats. Fox
That's right.
Mulder,
Read the chats, will you?
for $15 back.
Thank you, Fox. Appreciate it.
Be a character tier again, but now I worry I'm being greedy since I was already in the first book.
Hey, no, man. It's I just appreciate it, man. Someone's got to do it, and I just as soon have it you. I might put you in. There's a part in Wraith of God, and there's a part in the nightclub. I might put you in the nightclub story to mix it up, unless you're dead set on being in Wraith of God again. I can put you in there. So, hey, there's the bro.
Brohawk?
Yeah.
Where? How am I not seeing it? Oh wait, let me put it on live chat.
I think David should join us.
David, get in here. How dare you?
I'm gonna David, I'm gonna stick a link in Instagram.
Comics Bear says I'm a super spreader confirmed. Negative, sir. Negative. Negatory.
Let's see here. All right, David, you got a link in your Instagram account if you want to come in and join the potty.
Let's do it. The bros. The broskies. Yeah, dude, congratulations. A fantastic launch day.
Thank you so much.
So
yeah,
good.
It was you know how it goes. You know, you're never quite sure how things are going to go, and even though you think maybe it would go well, there's no guarantees, man, especially in Joe Biden's America. So,
that's very correct.
So yeah, I'm quite thankful and feel very fortunate and blessed, quite frankly, that this has turned out to be such a great start. And that's the great thing about. I don't know if Kickstarter. Did you ever do a Kickstarter?
I did. I've done a couple.
Do they have like a, once your campaign's up, do they have like a in-demand type option, or?
They do not. They have, you can go to Backer Kit and continue your campaign. That's what John De La Rose is doing right now. But yeah, so far as just straight up, no, you can't.
Because that's one thing I really like about Indiegogo is that in demand, because it essentially becomes a store, and it allows people that everybody doesn't have money just sitting around to back these things immediately, and so 3 months from now someone can still get in on the campaign, or even 6 months from now, because hopefully by 6 months I'll be getting closer to getting done, but so it gives you greater opportunity to continue to promote the book and get people to back it.
Yeah, Gary Shipman just left his store open. Like, he leaves all of his stores open, and really that's what it is. It just becomes an online store. My new cam isn't set up. Nobody wants to look at your ugly face anyways, David.
Yeah, give you your shot, man. Well, I saw that you called, David, and I saw that you left a message. I had my ringer off because I was live streaming, and my kids always inevitably call me when I'm live streaming, so I made sure that I didn't have it on, and then so I didn't notice you called until afterwards. So, and I didn't want to call you and put you on air unless you wanted to be. So we will talk later.
I'm just going to continue to shame him and insult him until he shows up.
He's well, if his camera's not working, what are you going to do?
He doesn't need a camera. Look, I'll turn my camera off. You can't even see me. I'm not even on screen.
There you go.
Joe Bernardo says, aloha, Aaron, dropping in to see how's it going.
Joe Bernardo lives in Vegas, but he always says aloha, so he's an islander.
Yeah.
But he's transplanted into Vegas, so.
Clearly. All right, I need to make a decision here.
See, James is getting pissy with me because they're artists, James, and we're drawing.
What's he nagging about?
I program planning, and I sent out invitations to other artists to come in, and if they join, they join. If they don't, they don't. We do a different thing. Don't be mad. Fox Mulder, $15 again. Thank you, Fox. I'll leave it up to you where you put me in. If it wasn't for Mike, I never would have discovered you. You were on one of his streams. How about that? See, Mike, you did pay off in the long run.
Glad to help.
Yeah, Jolly Green. Hi, Aaron. Congrats on the great start. Thank you. Those vampire teeth clamping down a Wraith's shoulder reminds me of a classic World War II era Timely cover. Oh, yeah. Well, see, on one of those covers, they would have been making fun of the Japanese, so we don't want to offend Mike.
Oh, no, I'm fine with it. We were terrible. My people are, yeah.
Well, the funny thing is this is what irritates me, this sort of like retroactively shaming people and things that without taking into consideration the culture at the time and what was going on. I mean, when you're at war with another country, you're not going to be making them, these wonderful, beautiful people. They're going to make them these monstrous creatures because they're the enemy. You're in a world war with these people.
Yeah, but we were legitimately like the most monstrous, brutal freaking.
Well, there you go.
I mean, was it the Bataan Death March? And it's like the things we're famous for in like World War II and before are not nice things.
No, that's true.
But now we make a hell of a radio.
It's funny how things have changed over the course of time and different leadership in different countries. Just think how happy we'd all be if Joe Biden wasn't president right now.
I'd be thrilled.
But he is.
Yeah. Randy House says, no, I'm pretty sure that was a ratsy evil scientist in that old cover. I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, I've got a Captain America cover where he's fighting Japanese soldiers or whatever, and they literally have pointed ears and fangs, and look like monsters, right?
Those are great. I love them.
Yeah. Oh,
So funny.
James is correct there. He says Joe Biden isn't president; his handlers are.
Oh,
It kind of makes you want to know who's pulling the strings, doesn't it? I mean, I have a pretty good idea, but
yeah, I feel like he didn't even know what he was reading in that speech.
oh my gosh!
I'm sure he didn't write it. And
Oh
then
yeah, of course he didn't.
the next day he was like, what? No, what? I wouldn't say that. It's like,
You're
you said
"Did
it last night, dude.
Yeah, I go, did you watch your speech last night? Are you kidding me? Jeez.
I would never say something like that. It's like, alrighty then. Oops. All right, let's see.
What was this? Geek Avenger says, when at war, dehumanize and demonize the other side. Japan was pretty hard on China. They told some of their citizens that if they took them alive, we would cannibalize them.
Yeah, there you go.
They might have. I don't know. Depends how hungry you are. But then he says, on the flip side of war, they've given us sushi, awesome tech, manga, anime, Kurosawa, films, Godzilla, strong martial arts influence.
Also true.
With the concept of Budo. I don't know what that means, but Mike, you probably do. Do you know what Budo is?
If I recall correctly, if he's talking about where there's the three aspects of doing something you're good at, doing something you enjoy doing, doing something you can get paid for, and doing something that is a benefit to mankind. If you have that Venn diagram crossing over, then you... Unless that's a different concept that I'm forgetting the name of, but I think that's what he means. And he can correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure he will.
I don't know. I have no clue. So, I mean, I'd believe anything at this point. So Randy Howell, of course, 2,000 subs, baby. Well, we got there. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I had, though, when I launched this.
No, that's not Budo. That's Bushido.
Okay.
Warrior.
See, I don't even know what that is. So I have no idea.
Geek Avenger. You mean Bushido, Greek Avenger? What's that other one that I'm talking about? Somebody look that up. I'm busy.
All right, so that's pretty much what this is going to look like. All right, James, if I let you in, I want you to behave yourself.
Oopsie.
Since I'm done drawing, we can sit here and talk for an hour and get some conversations going with
the folks.
Yes. Give me a second here. I'm stalling again while I'm
trying to get David in here.
I'm going to get James Mealy in here, who runs Sequential Treasures.
James Mealy. I know that name.
Oh, yeah. He's a regular, but he's an art seller and pretty knowledgeable on pop culture. So sure he will keep things lively here.
Budo relates to martial arts. The way of the warrior. The martial way. The cannibalized thing was in the smaller Japanese islands. A lot of Japanese citizens were surprised we were so nice because of what their government told them. Budo equals martial way.
Look at that. Mike Miller, you're just a... is that Uranus? Is that what that is? That blue ball?
Blue ball. My anus doesn't look anything like that.
Okay, well, hang on a second. I just, I got to language alert myself. All right. So what are you working on these days, man?
Actually, I'm working on, well, it's funny because I have an NFT launch that comes on the 13th, but I'm not working on that because I have someone else doing all the marketing for it. But personally, I'm working on an NFT project for normies, which is I'm doing these. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you in a second. I gotta go do this whole thing. I'm basically doing avatars for people who play RPGs like D&D or any other kind of fantasy or role playing game. Oh wait, it's already open. I'm an
So
idiot.
you're basically having a, I don't know if I want to say commercial art career at the moment, but that's sort of what you're doing. Wouldn't you say that? I mean, it's not all, you're not doing pure NFT, right? You're still doing like various different things, right?
The only thing I've done recently that wasn't for an NFT was a comic book cover for somebody. Other than that, I'm doing NFT related stuff. So
We got this far without NFT talk. Don't ruin it now. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. This looks like, this is creepy looking. What's James doing? There he is. Everybody, there's Sequential Treasures. Mr. Nice Guy, James Feely, is joining us.
Yeah, what are
Very
you doing
dark-
saying behave myself? I'm not Shelley, for God's sake. You have to worry about the language or the button while I'm around.
Mike, do you know James? Have you met him before?
Yeah.
I think we've met like through the mail a long time ago. Like, you own a comic shop?
No, I sell online.
You sell
Mike,
online.
2014 Emerald City Comic Con. You got my table.
All right, there you go.
See, he's like, yeah, it was 2014, June the 2nd. I was having spaghetti and you were eating just this.
Well, I'll tell you.
Memory of an elephant. What can I tell you? That's how I've always been. I remember everything.
Carrie Nord was there that year, right?
Yes, I believe he was.
Yeah.
All right.
That year.
Okay, but here's the bigger question. Did either of you guys go see Jaws in the theater or Wrath of Khan 2 this past weekend?
Let's no.
No, but I did watch Jaws at home, so yes.
I get to like kind of.
I'm not hearing you very well, James. Turn your mic up.
Don't know why. My mic should be fine. It was working fine just a few moments ago.
Well, okay, that was better. Maybe you were too far away from it. I don't know.
All right,
Mike,
so-
what is
Well,
this?
yes, I watched here at home, so yeah, the microphone saying is working fine. So okay.
All
So,
right.
so like I said, this is sort of an NFT project for normies, which is like, I'm not targeting the NFT market. I'm trying to do something that's art related that just people who are interested in RPGs would want to take part in, right? They would want. So essentially, because I'm taking the mechanics of generative art, which is you do a bunch of different layers and a bunch of different options on characters, and then you can swap them out and create 10,000 unique different characters.
Mhm.
And because when you have like 300 different variables, you extrapolate out, it's like 600 billion possible combinations. So if people, that's, you ever play D&D?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
No.
Long time
I
ago.
made fun of people that play D&D. Sorry, anybody in the chat that I may have just offended, but
Okay, well, one of the things you do when you make D&D is you create characters, right? And when you create your character, there's a spot there for an illustration of your character. But most people can't draw. And so
Right.
in the D&D marketplace for people who want to have original characters illustrated, it's like $300 to $1,000 for a custom character illustration in that marketplace.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm creating classes and subclasses. I'm just starting with this first class to see how it does, which is the warrior class, right? And
Okay.
so you have all these different variations, and then people will be able to purchase for like some nominal fee, like $50 or something. They can get their own unique character for their role-playing game.
You know what this is? This is like a digital color form. Remember those? When you get the little
Yeah.
character, all the different costumes, you could take them off and stick them on.
It's paper dolls.
Yeah, there it
Yeah.
is. We've just
Or do you remember
encapsulated
what was it called? The Magic Monster Maker?
yeah.
Is that what it was called? Right?
Well, there was variations on the thing, but yeah,
I don't remember that, but I do remember color forms. Yes, I know exactly what Aaron's talking about.
Yeah,
It was
well, you take them on.
Monster Maker, you swap the head and the torso and the legs, and then you put a piece of paper on. You rub a crayon over it.
Okay, I remember those too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't remember this. I remember Presto Magic, where you had a sheet of little doodads on it, and you put it on this image. You have like an image of, like, say, a setting, and you like scribble your pencil over top one of the images, and it takes it off that page and puts it onto the setting wherever you wanted to place it, so you could create these images and these scenes. It's called Presto Magic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
golly,
that too.
that sounds familiar too. I never had that. I did have the color forms. That's because I'm so freaking old. That when you guys were doing stuff in the 80s, I was like, graduating high school. And you guys were like, so we have like this, 10-year difference of
I graduated in '89.
Oh, see, yeah, I graduated in
91 over
82, so
here.
there's a 7-year difference. When did you graduate?
91.
James? 90. What's it? Look at that.
That's my wife's grade.
So, yeah,
You were in
so
my
my
wife's
gosh.
grade.
You're my wife's
So yeah,
grade.
so that's why it's like I can take these
Actually,
very.
it should have been 92, but they got me into school early. I started school when I was only 4.5, so I graduated at 17 in 1991.
Mhm.
Well, there you go. So you're like a brainiac or something.
Not
Nerd.
a brainiac. When I was tested, I scored about 140 on the IQ, which is moderately gifted, they call that. So not genius level, but I'm like the Yogi Bear of humans. I'm smarter than the average.
Smarter than the average human.
All right, I got to promote my campaign here for a minute.
So, anyways, I'm just trying to show you the different
Oh, I see.
varieties and variables and whatnot.
Yes, I got you. So they actually would
That's a good
they would
idea.
actually buy the template and they'd get all the costumes. Is that what you're saying?
No. These will be randomized, and then you can mint them, and then they'll all be just on the marketplace.
I
So
see.
people can trade them or buy,
I got you.
sell theirs,
Right.
buy the ones they want, or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
Right.
All right. So that's what Mike Miller is doing these days. What am I doing? I'll tell you what I'm doing.
Making money.
We're funding a book. That's how I like to look at it.
Let's
We're
go.
funding a book.
Tomato, it's the same thing.
That is true. But so we've been, this campaign has been alive since 3 Pacific time. So
8 hours.
about 8.5 hours. So actually it was 2:45. So we're at pushing 60,000, which is fantastic. So they were still creeping up there, getting close to 58,000. I want to thank you guys very much. I want to roll through this real quick and let maybe if anybody's joining us late, what I've got to offer you. This is, of course, the sequel. Well, not really the sequel, but the next part of the Wraith of God saga. And in this story, Wraith and Esther return to battle Count Korvac, a vampire looking to take over a growing Tennessee town with the help of his blood-sucking brides. Of course, we're back in 1883. Our two heroes continue to define their relationship as their faith is tested by the dark evil of the power-hungry vampire. But you know what? You're not only getting that, you're getting a backup feature with Garbage Man and a bunch of zombies, and a story that Bernie Wrightson would approve of. I can guarantee you that. And the backup feature number 2, we bring back the nightclub, which first appeared in the Garbage Man trade paperback and in the epilogue, in the 3-page epilogue that was in the back of the Wraith of God graphic novel. You have some cover options. You have cover A is the wraparound cover.
That's what I got.
Which we see right there. We have the Tales of Suspense, harkening back to 1965, way before you guys were born. So we're getting kind of promote the Garbage Man and the nightclub backup stories in there. And then, of course, there's the tribute cover to Tomb of Dracula #1. What's that?
That's the one I backed. I had to. It's Tomb of Dracula. I love that book.
Yeah, I figured this would be sort of in your wheelhouse. So, and this goes to my philosophy of making sure that you have 3 covers that are completely different from one another. So make people have the tough choice. Here's the first 3 interior pages here, colored by Gabe LTA. These look really, really nice. He did a fantastic job on them. A couple pages from the Garbage Man story, colored by Dan Lawless. Go ahead, get your plug-in Sequential Treasures.
That's right. I sell Dan's art, and you can see that awesome. There it is, the awesome Dan Lawless colored boot right there.
That's right. The boot. It's right there. He loves that boot.
I don't get it.
Dan is very proud of that boot.
No, he would show this art and he'd go, and everybody'd say, "Oh, that's really cool. She did here." And he goes, "But what do you think about that shoe? I really think that shoe turned out well." And we were like, "Yeah, Dan, that shoe was nice." There's a signed and limited edition print here of Garbage Man. That's a mini print that comes signed and numbered. So when the orders are complete on this, they'll go to press at whatever number that is, and that is it. So there won't be extras laying around that you can get in the next campaign. So you want to order that. Wraith of God Roughs. If you like to peel back the curtain and see, the layouts that I did for the pages, much like I drew here today or this evening, they'll be featured. The 48 best pages from the book will be in this, so you get to kind of look at and see the layout process. That, of course, is the Merv the Astro Chimp trading card that everybody that signed up early gets. And if we hit 100K, or should I say, positively speaking, when we hit 100K, I will add the Kit Carter extra 15 pages that does feature Merv the Astro Chimp. So if you're asking yourself, why a Monkey in Space card, Aaron, on this campaign? That's why. Because we're going to get some of that in the story. I really hope so and think we will. Stretch goals at 40,000. I'm going to put in an editorial page that I put in the last book with the character value stamp added in there. So we'll get a new character.
Past that.
What's that?
We've blown past that already.
Yeah, that's true. With that, I guess I have to write unlocked, right? Yeah. And a letters page, which I also have to put unlocked. And we're right almost on the verge of getting that Kit Carter Galactic Ranger trading card. At 60,000, 80,000, there's a Garbage Man trading card. At 100,000, that's when we add those 15 pages of Kit Carter. And at 120, we're going to get, every backer gets a Queen of Hearts Esther playing card that will go with your Wraith of God Ace of Spades playing card. We have the Dale Keown Bloody Werewolf t-shirt. The Garbage Man t-shirt comes in 2 colors.
Hey, can I put a pause on? There's an add-on when you go to buy it that's not on the thing. Are you not talking about the add-ons?
I haven't got there yet.
Oh,
there's some add-ons that aren't part of the perks. Right. There's so there's the Wraith of God shirt, which I'm wearing right now.
Hey-o.
There it is. Ooh. And Empire Comics baseball cap, which I'm going to buy one if no one else does. So here we go. Now these are items that aren't in the perks that are available as add-ons. Okay. All 4 issues or covers of the first graphic novel. And these are really limited. So when I run out, I run out. Garbage Man and Power Cube trade paperbacks. I think the Power Cubed is already sold out because I only had about 50 of those. I've got 200 of the Garbage Man. So those are still available. And I might be able to get more, but until I can, I'm not going to say I can. And then there's also the shot glasses, the Wraith of God shot glass and the Garbage Man shot glass. Now, the reason the shirts aren't available as add-ons and they don't have any, you can't add on books to them or vice versa, is because they ship separately. So there's no way for me to add it onto your order and save money on the shipping because it ships in a different package. It's totally separate than the books. So that would be a separate order that you would place for the shirts.
Okay, that's a little spooky. Joe Bernardo says that you've got 666 backers and it's almost midnight.
Holy crap. We need to get to 667. Get me off that number, you guys.
Gotta get off that before midnight strikes.
Yeah. Here's the original art that's for sale, but it's already all sold. So
how much were you selling the covers for?
$2,000 a piece. The Garbage Man was $800. The monkey card was $450, and this painting, the promo painting, was $1,500. So those are all gone. I will be selling interior pages from this book at a later date, but I don't know if it'll actually be on this campaign. The one other thing that I want to throw out there is that I am getting a cover from a guest artist that I haven't got yet.
I thought we weren't talking about that, Aaron.
Well, I'm not saying who it is. Oh, right. I got to break the news to you, Mike. It's It's not you after all.
What?
I moved on.
Oh man.
It's John Romita Sr.
Yeah, wouldn't it? No, actually, it isn't. But wouldn't it? If Dick Ayers was alive, he'd be a good choice, wouldn't he? But no, this is a big name artist, and I know that he's halfway done with it because he sent me pictures. He's just taken a lot longer than I sort of figured. Whenever you bring in somebody, especially a big name person, when are they going to fit you into the schedule? So I had a contingency plan that this might happen, and of course it did happen. But when I get that, it will come up as a separate perk. And those of you who have already ordered, who may want it, I will send out an update with a link to the secret perk so you can get that cover with reduced shipping if you want to get it. So anyway, that's coming. So the perks are the 3-pack plus, which is all 3 covers plus the limited edition Garbage Man print. The Blood Hunters cover A wraparound. The Blood Hunters cover B cover option, or the cover C option, which is the Tomb of Dracula. Then you can, of course, buy a hat or any one of the shirts, and we have plus size shirts that go up to 4X. So, and then of course there's Blood Hunters and the Roughs book as a combo. And I will say this: if you buy the books separately, they come unsigned. If you buy the books in a package, they come signed, and that's in the description. So I'm not hiding anything, but that is how those break down. And of course, there's a little Presti big box of books, which contains all 3 covers, the Roughs Volume 2, the limited edition Garbage Man print, plus 3 sketchbooks saved from the trash, illegal, and Sketches 2013 that are vintage sketchbooks that I still have a few copies laying around. So this will probably be your last chance to get those because they'll be gone after those 75 are claimed. You can be a character in the book. 1 is already sold. There's 1 slot left. And there you go. That's pretty much the whole campaign.
I'd go for that other character one, but I just don't happen to have $2,000 laying around doing nothing. So.
Yeah, well, the thing about that is you get your likeness as a major, well, not a major character, but a character that probably will have dialogue, and you'll get the page that you're on, that you appear on. You'll get that original art, and you'll get your name listed on the title page of the book as being a featured character. I listed them in the Wraith of God as like actors. I said that the person's name and the character they were portraying. And so that's kind of fun. So you get your name.
Aaron, we're over the hump.
We're over the hump.
We're over the hump. The satanic hump.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Someone got over the
667 now. Shoo, that was close.
Well, let's refresh that. There we go. Oh, okay. Excellent. Thank you, guys. So we're 57,883, which is just a tremendous start. We're not even 12 hours into this yet.
It's a lovely number.
It is, and I appreciate it very much, you guys. So anyway, those are your ordering options. And, of course, if you have any questions, you can always message me or email me, and I'll do what I can to clarify anything that may be confusing about this campaign. Now, I want to get back to the bigger question. I can't believe you guys neither one of you guys went and saw either Jaws or Wrath of Khan in the theater. Explain yourself. Why would you not do that?
Because the pandemic has really broken most of my interest in going out to the theaters anymore because of all the stupid mandates and everything else a lot of places want to put on you. I'm like, I'm not going to do that nonsense to see a movie. I'll just stay at home and watch it. And I ain't got to deal with any of that crap.
Well, okay. We don't have any mask mandates. I don't know what they're doing to you up in Washington still, but we're
maybe they're not. Maybe, but I'm just saying it's just I don't want to have to worry about dealing with any of that. I'll wait until sanity returns, and I'll consider going back to theaters if they don't kill them all in the process. But
you're in Washington, I'm in California, and he's in Portland. None of us will ever have sanity return again.
I'm moving as soon as I can, dude. This blue
We've
state.
got all 3 coastal states covered here. It's nice.
I know. We really do. Well, I look at whenever Jaws goes, it's my favorite movie all time. Whenever it comes out in the theater, which is usually about once a year, it shows up someplace. My son and I go and see it. And so I got to see it in IMAX. I've never quite seen it that big before. So that was actually kind of fun. And then anytime Wrath of Khan.
But did it didn't change the resolution or anything, because that's one thing I noticed. Like when the bigger,
No.
higher resolution, TV started coming out, some of the older movies, a lot of the flaws started. Wow, I can really see all the flaws in this now. It's like,
Well, I didn't notice anything though. I was watching the film, and I've seen it 100 times. So I start watching for like, okay, why did Spielberg make this shot? And how this is interesting how he did this. And you start watching other things than just the film because you've seen it so many times. But I still just think it's a masterpiece. Certainly one of the top 100 films of all time, and maybe a top 50 film. It's my number one. And then
AFI agreed with you, Aaron. And Jaws is on their top 100, so they agree with you.
I got the book right back there that says it, so I can back it up. You're right. And Star Trek 2 is just a personal favorite of mine. It's just, I love it. And so anytime I get to see it in a theater, I will go. And that was a Fathom event thing this past weekend that my son and I also went and saw. And it is funny. We went to a Regal theater. I don't know what chains you guys do. You have Regals down there in California, Mike? Okay,
that's our local.
On
Tuesdays they have like, well, I don't know if it's all Regals, but our Regal, it's like Tuesdays it's like $6.
Really?
We have a small theater in this town that on Tuesdays they on like I think what the second Tuesday of every month they do a retro movie. They'll play an old movie that cool. One night, and I remember me and the wife, we went with some friends. We saw this was a couple years ago before the pandemic, and we saw Top Gun, the first one. So
Raiders is playing at our local theater right now, and I don't know if I'd like to get over there and see it, but it may be done this weekend.
Oh, is that one theater that
the Joy Theater in Tigard is what it's called?
Yeah.
It's really, really old, but they play like they'll always get like these old weird monster movies and things like that, and it's especially fun during Halloween because they'll always get like Frankenstein or Bride of Frankenstein or something like that, and they'll play Hitchcock films there occasionally, and so Jaws always shows up there once a year, so that's usually where we end up going to see it. But this time we went, like I said, we saw it in IMAX.
The circulation not getting to them.
I was totally amazed at how few people were in the theaters. We would go like on a Friday night and there's nobody there, and you're just like, how long are these movie theaters going to last before they go under?
Yeah, it really depends on the theater because it's really weird. If I drive 20 minutes over to the AMC, it's always lines out the wazoo. It's
really?
Shows are sold out, blah blah blah. I go to my local Regal. Dude, I can go to the biggest blockbuster, Harry Potter, Star Wars, doesn't matter what it was, and it's like front row seating. It's like not front row, but like
six people in the theater. And you're like,
I love it. It's
because we went and saw that Idris Elba, Beast movie. It just 2 weeks ago.
What I missed
it's basically Jaws, but it's with a lion, and they're out in Africa. And
I missed the drive-ins. There used to be one back east. When I lived back home, we had one out there that way. And throughout the 80s, they played stuff. I saw lots of great stuff at the drive-in. And then we had one in this town here until I think 2003 or 2004, and then they closed it down and demolished it. And it was a sad day. We went that summer right before they closed it up, and we went and I had to see something at least once there. And so we ended up going. I saw The Mummy Returns and Evolution were the two playing on a double bill, and that's what I call it. And it's like, man, it's like, and I think about the pandemic. If we still had drive-ins, you could have kept all the movies running because it's all sitting in your own car. You go around and infecting other people.
Well, it's funny. They closed down all the drive-ins, and then they started reopening them. There's one in Newburgh, which is 15 miles from us, and that's the only one I know of in the general area. My daughter and her friends go to that one all the time, and they play like Back to the Future and stuff like that. They're older films that are better built, better suited for drive-in, and so they still do it, and they get huge crowds. People love the
people like that experience. That's a great experience. Joe Bernardo asking probably one of the most silliest questions I've seen anyone ask for a while. Aaron, do you think Star Trek 2 is better than Star Trek the Motion Picture?
He knows the answer to that because I was just on Graham Nolan's show yesterday, and we we didn't really debate it because we're both Star Trek fans, but his favorite is Star Trek the Motion Picture, mine is Wrath of Khan.
Really?
And so we went back and forth on why we felt the way we felt and why the other
that was
person.
anybody's
my view
favorite.
on it is this: Star Trek 2, I mean, especially Star Trek 2 more than any, but even the following ones tried to play more towards what the series was like.
Yes.
Whereas the first movie would try to be more like in the vein of like a 2001: A Space Odyssey type of thing.
And that was Graham's argument, that he actually liked the fact that it was more of a sci-fi film where Star Trek 2 was more of a space adventure, like the show was. But he wanted his motion picture experience to be grander and on a bigger scale. And so that's why he likes the director's cut of
Well, speaking of movies,
yes,
I've gotten in a couple of graded comics recently that are also movie related. Some new ones that no one's seen yet. So I know Aaron's excited.
I am.
I have to have right here.
Can I see him in the dark? You're sitting in the dark. It's
I think the light from the computer will help me out with this.
Okay, all right. Star Wars
number 10196.
Look at that.
Again,
is that a Simonson cover?
That's Sienkiewicz.
Sienkiewicz. Okay. Now, what year was that?
That's 85.
Okay.
Right. It's near the end of the run of the series. The series ended issue 107. So this is like right towards the end of the run. And again, this is one of the earliest books I read growing up. And then I got one more. Now this one I got, it's before I was ever reading comics. This is just like I did for you with the FF issue. This is one that was on stands when I was born. So I figured I had to get something that represented my birth. So I chose at a 9/4.
Oh my gosh.
Barbarian number 37.
That is a great
issue.
That is a great book. That is a great book. I have that. I don't have it slabbed, but I do have that, and I assume it's in, it's a 9.2 in that neighborhood.
No, 9.4.
I know that is a nice book. That is so that one got me. That is
movie-related comics: Star Wars and Conan the Barbarian.
You know what? That is nicer than catching a tiger shark.
A what?
I'm sorry, I had to use that. I had that sitting there from Jaws. Shelley and I last week did a Jaws-centric.
Yeah, I noticed that's disappeared on your listing.
Yeah, because somebody made a comment about another creator, and I accidentally put it up on screen, and I didn't want it. I have to get it edited out, and I just haven't done it yet.
Did I do it?
No, it wasn't. It was just it was just a an unkind remark, and of someone that's not necessarily a favorite in the CG crowd. So, but someone that I've had a good relationship over the years with. So I accidentally hit it and brought it up on screen.
I think I know which one. I think I know which one it was.
Was it Mark Brooks?
No, that I would have left.
Terry.
I'll help my guy. It's a female. Let's just.
Mark Brooks blocked me today.
Just blocked you randomly?
Well, I was responding to his post about those kids.
Okay, well that's why he blocked you. You responded and he didn't.
Well, I think he just. I mean, he's got me blocked on Facebook, so.
Yeah, well, he just finally got around to it.
Well, I've never responded to him with my new account.
So now you did. So he blocked me. Thanks, Mike. Blocked. Oh my goodness.
Thanks for letting me know you're alive. See ya.
The only people I've ever blocked were people that they never necessarily said anything directly to me, but they would be. I'm following them for like an actor. There's a couple of them are actors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you follow them because you think, oh, maybe they'll say something interesting about the films they're working on or whatever. And all they do is political rants, and I get so tired of them showing up in my stream that I just block them so I don't have to listen, just read their vitriol, even though it's nothing directed at me. Those are the only people I've ever blocked. People that personally attacked me or whatever, I'm just like, whatever. I'll mute some people, because I just get annoyed with it. But I've never blocked anybody other than celebrities.
I've got 27 people blocked on Facebook, and I've been on that platform since its was first released to the public like 16 years ago.
Yeah,
That's how few people I've blocked.
I think I've got probably 2 or 3. I mean, I don't remember, but I just, you're a pot stirrer, Mike. So you're out there. You're looking
Dan
for
Raspler
action.
used to call me a firebrand.
Yeah, there you go. And I just kind of like avoid conflict as much as I can.
Firebrand is a fancier term for troublemaker.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. It's pot stirrer.
It's great. I named one of my websites Firebrand Fantasy Studios after that because I thought it was great.
But now you're just good old Blacklist universe.
That's right.
Well, you were talking about that on Ethan's channel about the Blacklist.
Yeah, it exists, and nothing annoys me more than progressive creators going out on social media and saying stuff like, "Oh, this culture war is an imagination; it's not real, and there's no such thing as political blacklisting in comics." And you're like, "Oh my gosh, give me a break! Do you think we're all that?"
I loved your point on the stream, Aaron, where you said, they're saying you'll never work in the mainstream again. It's like, yeah, we'll give it 6 months. You'll never work in the mainstream again because it won't be around.
Well, it's true. I've always taken that philosophy because I've had editors, not because of political reasons, but maybe just didn't like my artwork, that were particularly rude to me. And you'll never work for me. I don't like your stuff. And I go, well, that's fine. You'll be out of this job in about 8 months, and I'll just work for the guy that replaces you. And it's always true, right? It's always true.
And I'm sure they got ticked off every time you said it.
Yeah. But it's, there's so much turnover in the industry as it is normally. And then you've got, they're just self-sabotaging their products right now at a ridiculous rate. And it just feels like the industry is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's, someone telling you
they got writers off of Tumblr, they get artists off of DeviantArt, and they're saying, yeah, this is going to be, and you got it filled with woke nonsense and think, yeah, it's going to sell well. Yeah, sure. Good luck.
Yeah.
I used to find artists on DeviantArt.
Well, all right then.
That's where the artists were.
Does anybody even go to DeviantArt anymore? I haven't been on my DeviantArt account in like a year.
Yeah, people do, just not as many people as used to. Man, I remember when people like, Sakimi-chan, you know that name?
No.
When people who had those massive millions and millions of people on DeviantArt, when like Patreon became a thing, and they converted their DeviantArt followers into patrons, they just started making just mad money. Like, I think Sakimi-chan, last one time I checked, she was making like $60,000 a month in patrons. I'm like, dang, why didn't I spend all this time building my DeviantArt account?
Well, I mean, there's people making decent money on their Patreon accounts too, and it's something I just haven't. I want to look into, but it's like it's time consuming. It's like how thin can you spread yourself? That's the problem with me, is I just don't have time to explore all these things.
Well, I think the other problem would be is on Patreon. It's all about the content. You got to do lots of content on there to keep those numbers up, and on top of doing the crowdfunding thing and the streams, there's just not enough hours in a day.
Yep,
it's true.
Hey, did you ever work with Brian Augustine?
I knew him.
Yeah, he passed away.
Yeah.
This. I think
Thanks, Barbie Doll.
he was one of the guys that would have gotten the shot, so I wouldn't be surprised if that had something to do with it. But yeah, he was like one of those leftists who was like really. I mean, he more like a classic liberal, right? Like,
yeah,
he was perfectly happy to work with conservatives, which is probably why he stopped working at DC. But he was the guy that told me straight up. He's like, yeah, there's a blacklist at DC. He's like, there's some editors who just gleefully compete with each other to put more people on the blacklist. It's like,
yeah, it's not necessarily politically either. There could be a variety of reasons for it. You know. Let's see here.
I used to never out him as the guy who said that, but he's gone now, so it doesn't really matter.
JV says you can see the shark does smile in the IMAX version.
When he says fish are food, not friends.
Yes, that's right. Joe Bernardo's, Aaron, do you think Star Trek? Oh, okay, we already did that. No, wait a minute. I think 2 is better just because 1 is edited so poorly. You could cut 30 minutes off of 1. Well, it is self-indulgent. That was one of my arguments with Graham. There's just too much. Look at this. Look at this, the Enterprise. Look at it again. Look at it again.
Well, again, like I said, I think they were going for that same vibe that they had in 2001: A Space Odyssey,
Yes.
where there was a lot of that in there too. Of look at how big and grand all this is. Look at how big. Look at how vast. That's what they wanted, and so I think they tried to play off that.
Yeah, I
we
totally
paid
agree.
a lot of money for this model. You better appreciate
That's
it.
right. We're going to shoot. It's going to be on screen for 20 minutes. Now, Joe Bernardo in Vegas says Regal theaters are closing their doors in this next year.
Are you certain?
I didn't know that, but it wouldn't surprise me because there's no one in them. I don't know what to say about that. Now, JV is getting out of control here. What is he says? Burn it. I don't know what that means. And then he says Star Wars is dead.
Oh, I think you meant my comic, the Star Wars 101, Burn It.
Oh,
because Star Wars is dead.
Okay. So, and he says, so no creator comments. Not sure what that's referring to. Then he says, Miller is old. Dan Fraga has hair
and yet
loss.
I'm probably the youngest guy on screen.
Yeah, that's right. EVS is pre-diabetic. Dale Keown has sleep apnea. So he's just taking shots at everybody. 27 neighbors blocked for asking Miller to stop stealing fruit. Oh, you take so much heat for that kumquat video.
And it was
gosh.
It was loquats. They never get it right.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well. And let's see here. Who is this? Randy Howell. Dale might be demonetized but come Monday for, oh my gosh, he was lighting up joints and stuff on his.
Well, he hasn't been monetized yet, so.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, but that's what we were joking about that was the very first live stream he'd ever done.
Yeah.
And so he was raging for about 20 minutes about the Hulk, and then he passed out for 4 hours. He ended up with almost 900 subscribers by the time
I bet you he's over 1,000 now.
Yeah, he probably is.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but he still needs 4,000 hours of view time.
Oh, here we go.
Right.
JV explains the no creator comments. He said when you said that you pulled the stream because of a comment made against a creator, so no comments made against creators is how is your rule, I guess.
Well, yeah, I won't put. You can say whatever you want in the chat. Well, within reason, but if you're taking shots at people, I'm generally not going to put it up on screen. So that's
not Aaron's idiom.
Yeah, I don't really. That's not my shtick. And there's plenty of other guys who do that. So but I don't.
No, I
think
like it would depend. That. I mean, I'm sure if people were taking shots on Mark Brooks, you probably wouldn't care.
Probably not. But
there are exceptions to every rule, Aaron.
Of course. Pity Ma says, congrats, I'm backer 715. Got the 3-pack of those beautiful covers. Thank you so much, Pity Ma. I always see, when I see names like that, I'm like, there's got to be a story behind that name.
There's a story behind my name. That's the most boring name on earth.
What, Mike?
Yeah, Michael Miller. My mom named me Michael and my brother Tommy. My
brother's name is Tommy.
In case she divorced my dad and had to move back to Japan with us, so that we had names that could be easily converted into Japanese names.
No kidding. How about that?
I would be Michael and he would be Tommy. So
okay. Well,
which is really bad because Michael is a girl's name, but whatever.
No. Well, you got the long hair. So.
Yeah.
Dale is at 974 subscribers right now. Just remarkable. That's what I said. We're all going to sleep on our streams from now on, and our numbers will just go through the roof.
Yeah, I got like 155 subscribers on my channel. It's like I've done all this content. Like, gee, all I had to do is do a stream sleeping, and I'd be there in no time.
Well,
it told me I could have done that. That's easy,
dude. Back in the heyday,
yeah,
man, we would. I mean, a chair stream would have 100 viewers just watching all night long. I could just walk out of the room and leave my chair. And Ethan did it. I did it, and then I did it on accident once, and then another time I did it like on purpose, and then I turned my camera outside. I'm like, hey, it's gonna be a nighttime stream, and I just left the camera on, and then I did a puppet show outside the window. Like we went and just grabbed all these different puppets and stuff.
I've been known to do a puppet show or two on my stream, but almost every Sunday, Shelly will come in just before the show starts, and she'll have her, because she watches a lot of stuff on streaming, and so she's on, social media and YouTube and different things, and she's like, "Look at this video of these puppies sleeping. There are 6,000 people watching these puppies sleeping right now." She goes, "What are we doing wrong?" I go, "I guess we're talking. We were talking too much."
They want to see if the puppies are going to do anything.
But there's isn't it like watching a fire though? It's kind of like this sort of mesmerizing kind of thing, and watching puppies sleep is sort of this calming thing that you wonder if maybe people just put it on their screen while they're doing something else. And every once in a while, they'll look over at the dogs and they're sleeping. They're like, "Oh, yeah, that's so sweet."
That dog do anything yet?
That dog moved. Oh. Let's see.
People are fascinated with animals, I think, in general. I mean, how many cat videos have like billions of views?
I know. Well, if the dog is, I have to admit, I watch French Bulldog videos all the time because they just crack me up, but they're doing something. They're not just sleeping. RMDO says, "I'm happy the old shirts came back. Will we see the beanies return this fall?" No, but I do still have some left. So if you want a beanie, just contact me directly at aaron@aaronlopresti.com. And I can hook you up with one at the, whatever they were. I can't remember what they were, $18, I think, or something like that. Because I think I have 4 or 5 of them left. So yeah, if you want one, just get directly in touch with me.
Joe Bernardo giving us an update on the campaign.
Well, let's take a look and see if Joe's right on the money or not. Because we're going to end this in about 10 minutes. So we'll see what we've got here. If I can find my right button to push. There it is. So we're at 58,306. That's fabulous. Thank you guys so much. Tremendous start to this campaign. Very encouraging.
And if they keep pushing, Aaron, in the next 10 minutes, you might have to be taking a shot.
Shelly drank all the Fireball on Ethan's. There's nothing left. I don't think. There is no. Look at that, man. It is bone dry. And we had a glass of wine up here, but I think that's gone. I drank that, and I'm not a wine guy at all, but it was just sitting there. So I kept sipping on it, and it's gone too. So I drank before 60. So that counts if we were to actually hit 60 in the next 10 minutes, which seems probably not likely, but Wait a minute. Fanboy Prime just about to back. He's making up his mind right now.
Get something for $2,000.
Buy the other. Add me into the story page.
That's right. Get us number 60, man. By midnight. Oh my gosh. It amazes me how many people that I end up live streaming with at some point aren't on the East Coast. I mean, no one's on the West Coast.
Funny,
hardly at all anymore, which I guess I don't blame them, but
yeah,
JVC, I hear a lot of drink excuses. Yeah, there's nothing left in the house. It is gone. So I couldn't take a shot of anything if I wanted to. There just isn't anything. We don't have a lot of booze. And then, like I said, Shelly was celebrating every 10K. And before you know it, it was gone.
$500, another shot.
That's right. I'll take another shot of Fireball. Oh man!
No wonder she needed a nap. Good Lord!
All right, Mike.
See if you can figure out what I'm making.
Is this Monty Python?
Yeah. I did all their surcoats. Hold on, let me grab one of the. So insert a photo. I did all the different Monty Python surcoats. King Arthur.
Is this the Knights of Ni? Where they?
No. This is.
We got Monty Python here. We had Red Fox and Trump over on Ethan's.
Oh, look at that.
That one.
Let's see. Now I'm into this. That's the guy I would get. It was like with that weirdo helmet.
Yeah. So working on the helmet now, but I thought you might get a kick out of that.
And I did. I appreciate it. That may be the funniest movie ever made.
Yeah, it was so fun. I came in the other. My son had like 3 or 4 friends over, and I came in, or I was in my room, and I hear the opener, and I'm like, what the heck? These kids are like watching Holy Grail like without me making them watch it. I was like, I go out there. I used to have that movie memorized, man.
Yeah, I know.
Freaking the entire thing.
It's so
That and Terminator.
cool.
Those 2 movies when I was a kid,
Yep.
absolutely memorized.
That Monty Python movie is so quotable. Terminator's got some good lines in it too. Vic says, "Wow, Shelley didn't look any different after drinking all that." Shelley, let's just say Shelley has more experience drinking than I do.
Higher tolerance.
Yeah, I am such a lightweight because I just don't drink at all. So on the occasion that I do have like if I had 1 beer out someplace, I wouldn't drive home.
Everyone talks about Monty Python and how funny they are, and they are. But you know what? I feel bad because no one ever talks about it anymore, and they're hilarious. Benny Hill.
Dave Allen at large.
Yes, Benny Hill show
was awesome.
Oh,
well, they always had some saucy babes on there. So as a kid, I would stay up late and watch that
Hill's
show.
Angels. That's what they were called. Hill's Angels.
Yeah, and you would sit there. I thought I was getting away with something, watching that. So
yeah, the little bald
best
guy.
part is always the end of the show when they do the fast motion stuff. That music, it's hilarious.
Right. Yep. DJ Close says you can owe us one, Aaron. Of course, he's talking about a drink that I owe everybody, I guess. Well, no, I said if it got to what the promise I made was I said I would take a shot if we got to 60,000 by midnight, which we're so close, but not quite there. So I don't really feel any sort of obligation there. Randy Howell says, I guess you'll have to huff some solvent. Yeah, that would probably kill me, right? And so then it'd be like a Dale stream, except I would never wake up from it. So,
wow, Aaron's been streaming live for 48 hours non-stop. Good
and
Lord.
he hasn't moved.
And he's dead.
And he's dead. Yeah. But can you imagine the views you'd get on a death stream like that? Yeah. You'd get monetized, but you wouldn't be there to collect the cash. So
Shelley would appreciate it. She'd appreciate the cash.
Yeah. Shelley would rake it in. Aaron. Okay. Maya, can you say that, Mike?
Ho'omai kai.
Okay, congratulations.
No, my ho'omai kai.
Okay, there you go. To a great start. I'm checking out, going to see Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett tomorrow, all in one show. Holy smoke.
That's a show.
Well, Joe, thanks for joining us,
Take me back
man.
to 1985, please.
Yeah. Well, you know what? How many people are doing retirement tours these days? Or not retirement tours, but what do you call them? I
went and saw the Who retirement tour when it was like 1980 something, and like they're still going.
Yeah, well, I saw Kiss on their very first comeback tour or farewell tour or whatever back in '96. And they were old then, and they're still doing it.
Yeah.
And that was the original.
For the Medicare tour.
I know. That was like Ace Frehley. And Ace Frehley looked like he was going to fall off his platform shoes.
Brought to you by Cialis.
Yeah, exactly.
And Viagra.
Gene was still rocking, man. But boy, Ace Frehley looked like he was having some trouble. But that was, and they had girls in the front row. 3 girls took off their tops in the front row. And then they put it up on the big screen because we were in the Rose Garden where the Blazers play, and so they had the big big screen up there that had 4 sides, and so everybody could see it. So these girls all got put up on the big screen, flashing Paul Stanley. So that was, I guess, the highlight of the show.
That reminds me when I was working in a movie theater and I walked in on a scene of Jungle Fever, and I walked in the theater and it was just walled side to side. It was just a giant pair of jugs. Like, well,
that's why
I was at the movies in 2003. I saw a film, America's Sweethearts, with John Cusack and Catherine
Yeah.
Zeta-Jones.
Yeah.
And this is during the previews, and they previewed that Mariah Carey bomb, Glitter. And you know how the sound is like real loud because you got the surround sound in the theater and it's blasting. The wife leaned over to me as the trailer was coming to an end and goes, "Oh, honey, can we go see that one?" And so I spoke up so she would hear me because you can't hear over the booming sound system. But of course, when I decided to speak, that's just when the sound cuts out.
Yeah.
And I went, "Oh yeah, we'll see that when Oliver Yakova runs out of laxative," and the whole audience just busted up laughing.
Man, how many times has that happened, right? You're like yelling to somebody because there's so much noise and the noise gets turned off right when you open your mouth. And
But then there was another time a few years later, I went and saw Jersey Girl, the Kevin Smith movie with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, back when they were together at the time. And
they're together now.
Oh yeah, there it is. Everything over new again. Yeah. But we were watching it, and there's a scene where they're standing in front of a mirror, getting all dressed up and stuff, and like you're looking at them from the mirror perspective, and then the sound cut out in the film all of a sudden. And so you see them, the mouths are moving, and they're all moving around, but you don't hear anything. And so I sat there and I waited 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then I went in and said, "Man, it was only that easy to get the real J-Lo to shut up," and everybody just fell out.
Oh, that's good.
That reminds me of my friend Matt and I. When we went to go see Last of the Mohicans, we straight up Mystery Science Theater 3000 that thing, and the theater was like full, and they must have like hated us. Yeah, we had just the best time. It was like, oh man,
Well, I remember going to see. There was a horror movie called Slithus. James, did you see that?
Slithus, no.
Well, it was like this kind of the Creature from the Black Lagoon type thing meets Jaws, and but there was this scene where it was a PG rated film, right? And there's this scene where he's coming up on these boat docks, and this chick and this dude are making out in one of the boats, and the monster breaks into the boat and like swipes across her chest and rips her shirt off, and so you got like full boobage, and I was like, wow, in a PG movie. So as a kid, I was like, wow, I didn't even have to sneak into an R-rated movie to see that. So there you go.
Yeah, not like most of us had to do. You had to sneak in to see that stuff.
All right, there's
let me get the ticket for the G movie, and then I'll go sneak over here to the horror movie.
What movies can you remember getting the ticket for and then going to see? Like I went to go get a ticket for Supergirl and went to see Terminator.
I don't think I've ever bought a ticket for like a lesser movie than snuck into like a higher or like a R-rated movie or anything like that. I
didn't do that either. But what I did is there was this one theater in this mall that we had that they never checked your IDs to see if you were over 17 for the R-rated film. So
I did that a couple times. Yeah,
I would go there. I'm like 15, and I'm like, yeah, I want a ticket for Total Recall. And it's like, that's an R-rated film. It's like, yeah, here you go. And they don't care. Just here, this is your money green. Okay, here, go on in.
Yeah, exactly. I did that a couple times. Got into R-rated movies, and I was only 14 or something. But what we would do was we would, like, if we wanted to go see Halloween, right, which was what, 78, 79?
78, I think.
78. Okay, so I was 14, so I couldn't go see it. So we would have get a friend's older sister to take us in, or somebody like that was just that could buy the tickets and get us in as our guardian. And so we did that with that. And Alien was another one we had to do that with. Animal House, I think we did that with.
Thing a couple times. Like I think he said we went to see one film, and then he snuck in, and he went to went with he had his uncle that would take him to the films all the time. And so they went to see one film, and he got up saying, "I gotta go to the bathroom," and left the film they were watching. And he ran over to the theater across the way and watched a little bit of like Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. And he said then one he got the ticket, and him and a friend they ducked out of that when they went over and saw Halloween 2.
Well, Halloween 2 wasn't exactly a great film, but
what flag?
All right, guys.
my wife is not a horror fan, so I said I was going to ease her into it. I said I'm going to ease you into horror because she's not a horror fan. So the first movie I made her watch that was horror, the original Evil Dead. That's how I'm going to ease you in with Evil Dead.
I don't know. I don't know if that's easing them in. Is it really?
Yeah, it's
No.
easing them in. But no, she watched Halloween 2, and then later she saw Halloween 1 later. So she saw 2 first. And to her, she said she thought 2 was scarier because it felt more claustrophobic because you're like in the hospital and like everywhere you turn, there he is, there he is, there he is. He's everywhere. You can't get away from him. He's everywhere. And she felt that was more tense and scary than the first movie was. And I'm like, wow, I never thought of it that way.
Well, I can see that, I guess. RMDO says, I don't feel so old now, so that's good. Randy Howell, thank you. Great start. Keep it up. Thank you, Randy. Paul Ogg says, hey, it's midnight. It's over. Close the stream out. And I'm going to, but let me refresh this one last time before we shut down. I'll go to bed. 58,649. What a tremendous start. Thank you guys all so much.
Wow.
For supporting the campaign and kickstarting it to really a good, excellent start.
You'll probably see 60,000 when you wake up.
Well, I'm going to sleep in. Make sure that I got to go to Rose City Comic Con tomorrow. It doesn't start till 12:30, so I don't have to get up too early. But yeah,
so you go to Rose City, but you didn't go to San Diego. Why is that?
Well, because my wife had the cancer surgery.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, we were planning on going, and despite all that, but because we bought the booth like 3 years prior, right? Because they kept canceling the show.
Yeah, that's right.
So once I told them the situation, they were like, "Oh no, here we'll refund you, and we'll rent your space out to somebody or sublet your space out this year, and then you can get it next year again." So they're all very cool about it, but it's going to be such a going forward, it's so expensive to go to that show. I'm starting to wonder. It's been like 3 years since I've gone. Now I don't feel compelled to go every year like I used to. So I don't know. I'll probably go.
That's what the pandemic did. It broke people of a lot of habits. Got to go out to the movies every week, and now people they don't bother going. Got to go to the shows now. They don't bother.
Yep. All right, everybody. Hey, thank you, Mike and James, for dropping in, keeping me company here this final hour and a half or whatever of the my promise to stay on stream till midnight. So appreciate the company, guys. Thank you so much.
You wanted to stay on because you finally wanted to break 2,000 subscribers. That's what this really was all about, Aaron.
The funny thing is, I didn't even think about that. I wasn't even thinking about subscribers for the channel. But when we did our pre-launch party for about an hour and a half before we went over to Ethan's channel, I had over 200 viewers. And I was like, I never get that many. So I think maybe a lot of those people were like, oh, I'll sub since I'm here. So that was, appreciate it. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the chat.
Of course, we can't end this without me saying, guys, the 24th of this month, the next Comic Art Convo with me and Aaron is going to be right here on this channel. We're going to talk about our favorite inkers. So you don't want to miss that. And there's a special announcement at the end that you don't want to miss on.
There you go.
Hey, look at the helmet's done if you want to see it.
Oh, okay. Last shot here. You need to have like a blade going through there, like some blood spurting out.
No. That was the guy who was fighting. This is the one that says, none shall pass.
Okay. All right. The Black Knight. No, it looks great. That's amazing. You got that rendered pretty quickly, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Excellent. All right, guys. Thank you again for joining us. And thanks everybody in the chat. And we will see you guys sooner than later, I'm sure.
Peace out.
Congratulations.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.